Welcome to Pinnacle of Awesome, Buddhism Basics. I'm your host, Pema Shamsetso, and I'm here to help you understand the fundamentals of Buddhism. So, whether you're a new Buddhist, a longtime practitioner, or just someone looking to be happier, this podcast is for you. In this course, I'll be talking about the objects of refuge, also known as the three jewels, of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. These terms have remained in the original Sanskrit because English just doesn't have the ability to translate them well, especially not in one word. I'll be defining these terms as well as talking about what it means to take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. In this final teaching in the course, I'll be talking about the third jewel, Sangha. When my teacher, Dzogchen Khenpo Chogo Rinpoche, and his translation team were looking for a word to describe Sangha, they came up with a couple of different words to translate it. Sangha is our companion. Sangha is the positive thinking of others. Sangha is my Dharma friend. These are all accurate and good translations, but there was some aspect of this concept missing. When Khenpo Chogo Rinpoche was looking for a word to describe this missing aspect of Sangha, he gave an analogy. When you're stuck in a hole and you can't find a way out, what do you call the person who comes and helps you out? We call that person our savior. And that's what Sangha is. Sangha is our savior. In the same way that there are different types of Buddha and there are different types of Dharma, there's also different types of Sangha. The first type of Sangha is called natural Sangha. It's the positive thinking of other beings. It's the renunciation, the compassion, the faith, the love, and the wisdom of other beings. Every sentient being has some sort of positive thinking, and that is something that we should be rejoicing in. It's something that we should be taking refuge in, that even the worst person has some seed of good in them that can be cultivated and that can grow. And the reason we know this is because we've seen people grow. We've seen people who have been Nazis reform and try to help other people get out of that very hateful environment. So it's important to take refuge in that, to take refuge in the positive thinking of even the people we dislike the most, even the people we disagree with the most. We take refuge in the positive thinking of other beings because it conditions our positive thinking. Even that little positive thinking, that seed of growth, helps condition our growth. And that is why we take refuge in it. The second type of Sangha is called practitioner Sangha. This is generally what is meant when someone refers to Sangha, in the same way that when we talk about Dharma, most of the time we're talking about the Buddha Dharma, which is my 5 positive thinking. When we talk about Sangha, what we're commonly talking about is practitioner Sangha. We're talking about those who have taken refuge. Even within this definition of practitioner Sangha, when we use the term Sangha, we're usually referring to the people who have the same practices that we have, who have the same teacher that we have. The reason why we want to take refuge in those who have taken refuge is because the act of taking refuge, especially in a formal ceremony, is a commitment. It's a commitment to trust the power of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So when you take refuge in Sangha, when you take refuge in practitioner Sangha, you're taking refuge in that commitment. Imagine this as going on a long trek. Let's say going on a trek up to Everest. When you go on this trip, you want to go with people who also want to go on this trip, who are trained to go on this trip, and who have actively decided to go on this trip, rather than someone who is just along for the ride, who doesn't really know what they want, and who doesn't know what to do in a crisis on this path. When you take refuge in someone who has also taken refuge, you are taking refuge in that person's training, in that person's commitment to train on this path. When someone takes refuge in Buddha, they are saying, I believe that Buddha is my goal. Buddha is my guide. They are taking refuge in that. When someone takes refuge in Dharma, they are saying, I take refuge in my 5 positive thinking as the cause of my happiness and as a condition of other people's happiness. And when someone takes refuge in Sangha as a condition of their happiness, they are taking refuge in the positive thinking of other beings. They are taking refuge in your positive thinking. That is the commitment that those who have taken refuge have made. When you make the commitment to take refuge in the three jewels, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, you automatically become better Sangha. Because you are actively working to increase your positive thinking, you are also actively working to increase the condition of other people's happiness. And that makes you a better Dharma friend. It makes you a better Dharma companion. It makes you a better savior. It makes you better Sangha. It makes you better Sangha than someone who thinks that their happiness is a new car. Because the person that thinks that their happiness can be found in acquiring a new car will be unable to help you when you get a new car and that does not cause your happiness. You need this type of Sangha, practitioner Sangha, to remind you of your path, to remind you to have renunciation, to remind you to have compassion, to remind you to have faith, to remind you to have love, and to remind you to have wisdom. These are the people that when you need help, you go to them and they can give you the help that you need. There are a lot of people who are very good at putting band-aids on problems. But Sangha helps you really address the root issue of your problem, even if it's sometimes painful. They're there to hold your hand while you go through the difficult process of sludging through your own garbage to find out where it's coming from, what is generating this trash. You really want to take refuge in these people, especially the Sangha that's walking the same path as you. They can make sure that you have understanding of the teaching according to Buddhism. They can help hold you accountable when you're having negative thinking. And they can rejoice in your positive thinking in a way that those who have not committed to increasing their own just can't do. It's difficult to really rejoice in positive thinking if you don't believe that it results in happiness. And a lot of people don't place appropriate value on positive thinking. Sangha will do that. Sangha will rejoice more in your generosity than in you acquiring new stuff. Sangha will give you positive reinforcement when you're practicing Dharma and will be there to remind you when you are not. When we take refuge in Sangha, we're taking refuge in Sangha as the condition of our happiness. We are recognizing the role that the positive thinking of other beings plays. When someone else is happy, when someone else has positive thinking, it makes it easier for me to have positive thinking, to be happy. So in that way, Sangha is the radiation of happiness. It conditions positive thinking. Other beings, renunciation, compassion, faith, love, and wisdom make it easier for me to generate renunciation, compassion, faith, love, and wisdom, the causes of happiness. We all either know someone or have encountered someone who is a ray of sunshine. And we use that term. Oh, I love this person. They're a ray of sunshine. It's easier to be happy around these types of people. It's easier to generate renunciation, compassion, faith, love, and wisdom. Sometimes the positive thinking of these rays of sunshine can be so great that they shake us out of a funk. I was at work one day and I was in some sort of funk. We've all been there. It's just karma ripening, not quite sure what we're thinking, but it's not great, and it just kind of feels bleh. And this person came in, and every time he comes in, the whole quality of the room changes. He's just radiant. And he came in with his big smile and his amazing attitude, and his mere presence shook me out of my funk. And that's one of the ways in which even natural Sangha radiates happiness. The power of those type of people, those rays of sunshine, is incredible. But they're kind of hard to find. And sometimes you need a little bit more personalized help. You need someone who knows you and who knows your problems to help you get out of some funks. And that's where practitioner Sangha comes in. Not only do they have that same type of radiation that the natural Sangha does, but they also know the path that you are on. They know what your destination is, Buddha. They know the path that you have chosen to take to get there, Dharma, 5 positive thinking. And they know how to support you on that path because they are also walking that path. And that is why we need to lean on practitioner Sangha. We need to take refuge in practitioner Sangha. I'm sure a lot of us have in our group of friends what we can refer to as a mom friend. It's the friend who makes sure that everyone is hydrated, the one who will overcome their own social anxiety to order pizza on the phone because no one else wants to do it, the one who makes a cup of tea at the first sign of distress. When the going gets tough, a lot of the times we trust our mom friend to help us. On this path, practitioner Sangha is that mom friend, but on a much deeper level. Sangha is here to help you through your most embarrassing negative thinking. Sangha is here to rejoice in your positive thinking. Sangha will remind you how to maintain positive thinking, and Sangha will point out when you're having negative thinking. The path to Buddha is not one that can be done alone. We need a guide. We need directions. We need a path to follow, but we also need companions. There will be times that it is difficult to get out of negative thinking. There will be obstacles on this path, some that you will be able to overcome with just a little bit of elbow grease, and some that will be impossible for you to overcome without help from Sangha. We need Sangha in order to help us overcome those obstacles that seem too great for us. If you call Sangha, they will help. It's really important to reach out to Sangha. They can help you out of the pit that you have fallen into, and they'll help you fill up that pit so you don't fall into it again. Sangha will walk beside you on this path, and when it looks like you're about to fall into a different pit, or even the same pit, Sangha will be there to help pull you back onto the path. Sangha is here to support you on your path to Buddha, both by cheering you on and also by holding you accountable for your own negative thinking. Sangha also has the job of making sure that someone tells you when you are doing something that will hurt yourself and others. In the first Harry Potter book, at the very end of the school year, Dumbledore awards 10 points to Neville Longbottom for confronting his friends. Sangha will be your Neville Longbottom, just with more wisdom. Sangha will confront you when they see you doing something that they think will result in your suffering and the conditions of others' suffering. And in those moments, if you have good intention, you can explain it to them. What that means is that they're there to check your intention, to make sure that you are doing things that line up with your goal. Negative thinking is tricky, and on this path, it can become very easy to lie to ourselves. For example, we can start saying things like, "Oh, I'm watching TV to relax because my body is really tense, and when I watch TV, my body relaxes." Sangha will come in and test that. Are you really doing it to benefit your body? Or are you doing it to escape because it's been 7 hours and you're still watching television? Sangha is there to help point out the negative thinking that we haven't acknowledged yet. The Aquabats have a song about friends that is very applicable to Sangha as well. It goes something like this. Friends help each other any way they can. When you're up at bat, they'll be your biggest fan. When you're in a pit, they'll pull you out of it. That's what Sangha does. So if you have a Buddha path, you can follow along. We're on page 48. May I realize Sangha is whoever has good thinking. May I realize Sangha is whoever has Dharma in mind. For the unchangeable happiness of all sentient beings, from now until enlightenment, in any situation, in every situation, I take refuge in the Sangha. The Sangha is my companion. The Sangha is the radiation of all happiness. From the bottom of my heart, I trust, I promise, I am certain. Your homework for this session is to think of some times when your friends have really helped you out of your negative thinking. Did their support make it easier to stop having that type of thinking? When you look at these instances, I want you to really look at your transformation out of negative thinking. I also want you to find some Sangha, find someone else who listens to this podcast. You can email me if you are looking to connect with people who also listen to this podcast, and I can create an email of those who want to connect. You can also listen to some other teachings by my teacher, His Eminence Dzogchen Khenpo Chogo Rinpoche. He teaches on Facebook Live quite a bit, and you can find him on that. Or you can look for live teachings in your area by either Khenpo Choga or by some of his lamas. You can find these on dzogchenlineage.org in the schedule section. Attending live teachings is one of the best ways to find Sangha. But if you don't have access to those live teachings, then watching the Facebook Live teachings are really good because there will be a lot of people who comment underneath and who ask questions. And ask them if they'd be willing to help you along this path. The last thing I want you to do is I want you to start looking at all of the ways in which people help you increase your positive thinking, both people you know and also strangers. It can be as intimate as a significant other who consistently helps you out of the pit of your anger, jealousy, greed, pride, or ignorance. It can also be something as fleeting as a stranger who lets you go first through a door. I want you to rejoice in those people. At the end of the day, I want you to write down a couple of these examples of Sangha. I want you to really rejoice in these people. In a couple of weeks, I want you to really look at how you reflect on these instances. Do you notice these instances more? Is it easier at the end of the day to remind yourself of them? Do you find that you yourself have started engaging in these little instances of Sangha more frequently? Has recognizing Sangha helped you become better Sangha? This concludes the final teaching in this course on the 3 jewels of Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. I want to thank you for listening to Pinnacle of Awesome, Buddhism Basics. In this teaching, we talked about the different types of Sangha and how others' renunciation, compassion, faith, love, and wisdom radiates happiness to others. Now that you have some concrete examples of what Sangha is and what Sangha does, I hope that you not only find some people to be your Dharma companions, but also that you yourself are encouraged to be good Sangha to others as well. If you are looking to connect with some other people who listen to this podcast, if you have any questions, or if you just want to share your experiences, you can always email me at pinnacleofawesome@gmail.com. May these teachings benefit you as much as they have benefited me. May we use these teachings to decrease our anger, jealousy, greed, pride, and ignorance. May we use these teachings to increase our renunciation, compassion, faith, love, and wisdom. May we be better people tomorrow than we are today.